The glass walls of Voss Technologies reflected the Helion City night sky like a mirror made of light and ambition. At the center of it all was Elara Voss, a black woman whose natural coils were pulled back in a sleek bun, her deep brown eyes sharp with determination. She had built an empire out of sleepless nights, cold numbers, and an unshakable belief that she could not lose. But tonight, everything was falling apart. It began with a small red warning flashing on the screen, then another. Within seconds, every monitor flooded with error messages. Data breached, accounts erased, financial losses climbing with every heartbeat. The system was collapsing from the inside. The empire she had spent 15 years building was burning silently. Elara slammed her fist on the mahogany desk. No, impossible. The merger deal worth $12 billion, set to be signed at dawn, was now nothing but a shattered dream. Each passing minute drained millions from the system, along with her pride. She had sent the tech team home hours ago. She couldn't bear another terrified look. She just wanted silence. Then footsteps broke the stillness. Slow, steady, a soft squeak of a wheel rolling across the floor. She looked up. A black man in a blue janitor uniform was pushing a cleaning cart down the hallway. He stopped at her glass door, startled to find her still there. His dark hair was cut close, his warm brown eyes meeting hers with a calm steadiness. Elara forced a bitter smile. Don't worry. You didn't break anything. I'm just sitting here watching 15 years of my life turn to ashes. He hesitated, then tapped lightly on the glass. Are you okay? His voice was low and warm, carrying a hint of Helion's west side. Okay? Elara let out a dry laugh. My company just died right in front of me. His eyes flicked over the screen, still flashing red. That's a cyberattack, he said calmly. Elara froze. What did you say? He nodded slightly. I used to work in cybersecurity before life sent me elsewhere. He paused. May I take a look? Elara blinked. The man pushing a cleaning cart had just offered to handle a crisis her senior engineering team had failed to solve. But there was no arrogance in his eyes, only quiet certainty. She stepped aside. Go ahead. He sat down. His fingers began flying over the keyboard, fast, precise, practiced. The light caught the name tag on his chest. Arlen Drake, Elara said softly. Who are you? Arlen didn't look up. Just someone who refuses to let things die before trying to save them. 6 hours earlier, Elara Voss had stood before the board of directors. Her dark skin glowed under the conference room lights, her tailored navy suit impeccable. Ladies and gentlemen, she said, the merger with Atlas Meridian Group isn't just a strategic move. It's the leap that will put us at the top of the global tech world. Approving nods rippled around the table. Voss Technologies had started in a cramped apartment, and now employed over 50,000 people worldwide. But no one knew that the powerful woman before them carried a hollowness words could barely describe. She had built this company out of everything she'd lost. 15 years ago, she missed her mother's birthday for a meeting. When her mother fell ill, she didn't go home because she was negotiating with investors. And when her mother passed away, she didn't get to say goodbye because she was in Singapore signing a contract. After the meeting, Calla Wren, the chief technology officer with sharp features and amber-brown skin, approached with an iPad. Elara, I need you to see this. Unusual activity in the system. Elara closed her eyes. Strengthen the firewalls. We're about to close the biggest deal in the company's history. I don't want a single mistake. She didn't know that was the last moment she could have stopped the nightmare coming. At the same time, Arlen Drake was pushing his cleaning cart down the 12th floor. The earphones in his ears played a podcast about Python programming. His blue uniform had faded after hundreds of washes. The same hands that had once written code worth millions now held only a mop and a rag. He glanced at his watch. 8 p.m. One more hour, then he'd go home to Lyra. Lyra, the 7-year-old girl with bright eyes and thick, beautiful locks, just like her mother's. The mother who had passed away when Lyra was 6 months old, leaving Arlen with a baby and a mountain of medical debt. He had once been a brilliant software engineer, but when his wife was diagnosed with cancer, everything collapsed. He quit to care for her. The savings ran dry. After 3 years, she died. No company wanted to hire a rusted engineer who'd been out of the field for 3 years. So Arlen became a janitor. By day, he mopped floors. By night, when Lyra slept, he studied programming, keeping his mind sharp. He remembered Lyra's question from last week. "Daddy, why don't you work with computers?" He pulled her into his arms. "Because I want to spend time with you, Lyra. Computers can wait, but you can't." But tonight, as he saw the screens in chaos, something inside him stirred. The part that once lived for this suddenly awakened. "Your backup servers, are they connected to the main servers?" Arlen asked. Elara looked at him, still not grasping what was happening. "No, they operate independently." Arlen nodded. "Good, that's your miracle right there." He began typing long lines of code. The flood of errors gradually shifted. Folders began to reappear. Data was being restored. For the first time that night, Elara felt hope rise in her chest. "I need full access," Arlen said. Elara pulled the MasterCard from her wallet. "You have it. Don't make me regret this." His deep brown eyes carried unsettling calm. "I won't. But if this works, don't forget who was here with you." They went to the basement server room. The air was freezing. Rows of machines stretched, endlessly, LED lights blinking. Arlen looked around. "We'll bring it back. But I need silence and 6 hours." As Arlen worked, Elara watched. He wasn't rushing. Each keystroke echoed rhythmically. 3 a.m. The screen changed color. Red alerts vanished. Folders appeared. The system rebooted. Elara leaned forward. "Is this real?" Arlen leaned back, a tired smile spreading. "Your empire's breathing again. It just needed artificial respiration." Elara laughed genuinely for the first time in years. "How do I thank you?" He shook his head. "Don't thank me, just fix what's broken outside the system." When dawn's light filtered through, the words appeared. "System restored successfully." "Congratulations," Arlen said quietly. "You're alive again." Elara turned to him. "No, we're alive again." When employees arrived that morning, they froze. The powerful CEO sat sharing cold coffee with a janitor, speaking softly amid glowing monitors. None knew that this ordinary man had just saved the company, or that this moment would change Elara Voss's life forever. That morning, Elara summoned senior management. "I want to introduce someone. This is Arlen Drake. If it weren't for him, we wouldn't be here." The black man beside her, still in his blue uniform, bowed slightly. Calla Wren folded her arms. "You're saying a janitor fixed what our tech department couldn't?" Elara didn't flinch. "That's exactly what I said. Starting today, Arlen will lead our new cybersecurity division." The room buzzed. Calla struggled to stay composed, frustration written on her face. When the meeting ended, Calla followed Elara. "You're making a mistake. You're trusting someone you barely know." Elara stopped. "I know what I saw, Calla. I know when someone can do what others only talk about. Arlen saved this company, and I trust him." That afternoon, Arlen returned, no longer a janitor. His new badge gleamed. Those who'd walked past him without a glance now stepped aside. Elara waited on the top floor. "Ready for round 2? "Always ready," Arlen replied. She led him to a small office. "Everything you need is here. Rebuild Voss's cybersecurity system from scratch." "You don't need to thank me," he said. "Just don't lose faith when things get hard." That night, when Arlen returned to his small Meridian Heights apartment, tiny footsteps came running. "Daddy!" Lyra threw herself into his arms, her locks bouncing. Arlen knelt down, holding her tight. "Hey, princess, what did you learn today?" Lyra held up a drawing. "I drew Mars, see? It's bright red." Arlen smiled. "It's beautiful. You're the best in the world." The apartment was small, peeling paint, old furniture, but every corner breathed love, drawings on walls, children's books, Lyra's teddy bear. "Daddy?" Lyra hesitated. "Today my friends asked what you do. I didn't know what to say." Arlen knelt so their eyes met. "Listen, sweetheart. I do important work. I help people. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But I heard you used to work with computers. Why not anymore?" The question sliced deep. "Because when your mom got sick, I had to care for her. And after she was gone, I needed a job that let me be with you. Computers can wait, but you can't." Lyra wrapped her arms around his neck. "I love you, Daddy. I love you too. Always." When Lyra slept, Arlen sat under the desk lamp, staring at his laptop. He knew what lay ahead, a second chance, but it would cost time with his daughter. "I can do this," he whispered. "I have to, for Lyra." The first days were anything but easy. Every morning Arlen woke at 5, made breakfast, took Lyra to school, caught the first bus. At night, he came home at 7 for dinner and bedtime stories. When silence fell, he worked late into the night, the blue light washing over his face. He rebuilt the infrastructure from scratch, rewriting code, restructuring security, training engineers. The company's revival became news. Investors returned. But Arlen felt something was off. A shadow still lurked within the system. One evening, long after the office emptied, Arlen sat before the glowing screen. The door opened. Elara appeared with 2 coffees. "I figured you'd still be here." Arlen took the cup. "Something's wrong." He pointed to the monitor. "These signatures match the old attack pattern, but they're coming from inside." Elara's face hardened. "Someone inside the company?" "I can't prove it yet, but someone here knows this system too well." The next day, Arlen quietly began his digital hunt. He tracked suspicious access points, built decoy traps, created fake data vaults, until he noticed a pattern, a device logging in late at night with admin privileges. When he cross-checked timestamps, one name appeared, Calla Wren. That night, Arlen walked into Elara's office with a flash drive. "We need to talk." He plugged in. The screen lit up with dense logs. "These are from internal servers. Calla used her account to access restricted data the night of the attack, then wiped the logs. This is the breach point." Elara stared, speechless. "You're sure?" "Absolutely. I checked the metadata. She tried to cover her tracks but wasn't good enough." Elara paced. "If this leaks, we'll lose investors again." "Then don't let it leak," Arlen replied coldly. "Let her think she's safe. Give me time to find who she's working for." Elara looked at him. "That's dangerous." He smiled faintly. "Trusting me that first night was dangerous too. But you did." In the days that followed, Arlen entered a silent cat-and-mouse game. He monitored Calla's every move, setting honeypot systems. He barely slept. Each night was a mental duel. The deeper he dug, the clearer it became. Calla wasn't alone. Someone powerful was pulling the strings. Late one night, his phone vibrated. A text from an unknown number. "Stop digging, or you'll regret it." He took a screenshot, sent it to Elara. She called immediately. "Are you all, right?" "I'm fine, but this proves we're getting close." The next morning, Arlen found a small black device beneath his car's bumper, a GPS tracker. Someone was watching him, knew where he lived, knew about Lyra. For the first time, Arlen felt real fear. He could face danger, but if his daughter was threatened, that was a line no one could cross. He brought the device to Elara. She looked horrified. "We have to call the police." "Not yet. If we do, they'll vanish. Let them think I don't know. She looked at him. Arlen, you have a daughter. What if something happens? Nothing will. I'll be careful. But we can't let them get away. That night, the building was silent. Arlen sat at his desk, pretending to work on a fake file. Elara waited in her office, lights off. 11:40 p.m. The camera flickered. A shadow appeared. Calla stepped in, holding a folder. Working late again, Arlen? As always. You've made quite a name for yourself. The boss's favorite. I'm just doing my job. Funny, your job seems to involve snooping into mine. She reached for the mouse. Don't touch that, Arlen said quietly, sharp as a blade. The light snapped on. Elara stepped out. It's over, Calla. Calla froze, eyes darting. You think you understand what's happening? You don't understand anything. Elara stepped forward. Then explain it. Calla laughed bitterly. Voss sold its soul to people who only care about profit. You're all pawns. Arlen stood still. You're talking about Orpheon dynamics, aren't you? The silence was louder than any confession. They paid you to sabotage us, Elara said coldly. Sabotage? Calla smirked. I call it exposure. She shoved the folder against Elara's chest and turned sharply, heels clicking. By the time security arrived, the elevator was empty. The surveillance feed went black. Arlen slammed his hand on the desk. She knows how to disable the feed. At dawn, after 10 sleepless hours, Arlen traced the first lead. Buried in encrypted code, he found anonymous transactions routed to a shell company. He looked up. This goes beyond Calla. Orpheon's been buying people inside our company. They're trying to take us down from the inside. So what do we do? Elara asked. Expose them, but on our terms. You realize this could destroy both of us? Arlen smiled faintly, or it could fix everything. But as Arlen left that morning, his phone buzzed. Laura, Lyra's babysitter. Arlen, there's a strange man by the school gate watching Lyra. She's terrified. Please come now. Arlen's chest clenched. He grabbed his jacket and bolted. When he reached the school, Lyra was in the principal's office, clutching her teddy bear, eyes red. Daddy! She leaped into his arms. Arlen hugged her tightly. Are you okay? Did anyone hurt you? Lyra hiccuped. There was a man, Daddy, staring at me. I got so scared. Laura placed a hand on his shoulder. I called security. He ran off. But Arlen, what's going on? Laura, I need you to keep Lyra at your place for a few days. I'll explain later. That afternoon, Arlen stayed home with Lyra. He cooked spaghetti, watched cartoons, read bedtime stories, but his mind was elsewhere. When Lyra slept, peaceful under soft light, Arlen sat watching. He remembered the day she was born, the promise he'd made. I'll protect our daughter no matter what. Now, in his hunger to prove himself, he'd put Lyra in danger. His phone buzzed. Elara's name. Arlen, where are you? We need— I can't, he interrupted, voice breaking. They've gotten close to Lyra. I'm sorry. I have to step back. A long silence. Then Elara's voice softened. Arlen, I understand. Family comes first. You don't need to apologize. The company will survive. But Lyra only has one father. Stay with her. Tears slid down his cheeks. Thank you. After the call, Arlen sat watching Lyra sleep. Then he understood. If he walked away now, they would win. They'd do it again to others, to other families. He heard his wife's voice from memory. Don't let fear take that from you. Teach our daughter to be brave. Teach her to fight for what's right. Arlen wiped his tears, kissed Lyra's forehead. I'll protect you, but I'll also teach you we don't run from evil. We face it. He called Elara again. I'm coming back, but this time we do it my way, and we end this once and for all. The following week, as Arlen traced Calla's trail, he uncovered something terrifying. Calla wasn't the mastermind. As he dug deeper, Another name surfaced. Dr. Morel Dane, Voss's chief financial officer. Dr. Dane, a brilliant black woman with silver locks and piercing eyes, had been with Elara since the beginning. A friend, a mentor, the one person Elara trusted completely. But according to the data, Dr. Dane had been selling information to Orpheon through a shell firm. Arlen went to Elara. "Morel," Elara repeated, trembling. "Impossible. I've known her 10 years. "That's exactly what makes it dangerous," Arlen said slowly. "No one doubts loyalty until loyalty becomes betrayal." Elara sank into her chair. "Why?" "I gave her everything." Arlen's voice lowered. "Sometimes people don't betray because they lack something. They betray because they feel unseen." "But I did see her." "Did you really? Or did you only see her role?" The question cut deep. Elara fell silent, realizing she'd done the same to Arlen once. "We need proof," she said finally. "Solid proof." Over 3 days, Arlen built a flawless digital honeypot, an isolated server mimicking Voss's financial infrastructure, filled with fake data and trackers. On the 4th night, the trap was sprung. An intrusion alert flashed. "I have the location," Arlen said into the phone. "Signals coming from an office in Helion City. We end this tonight." They drove through deserted streets, lights reflecting off the windshield. Neither spoke. Arlen hooked his laptop into the building's network from the lobby. "Dr. Dane's logging in from the top floor." They found Dr. Dane in a corner office, calm, composed. "Elara," Dr. Dane said softly, "you shouldn't be here." Elara stepped forward, fury in her eyes. "You sold us out." Dr. Dane smiled faintly. "Is that what you think? That I'd destroy something that wasn't already rotten? What are you talking about?" "Orpheon gave me freedom, something you never did." "Freedom doesn't come from betrayal," Arlen said calmly. Dr. Dane turned to him. "And you, Mr. Drake, Voss's hero, do you really think you're anything more than another pawn?" Arlen's reply was quiet but solid. "Maybe, but at least I'll know I fought for something that mattered." He pressed a key. Dr. Dane's screen froze, red warnings flashing. "Everything you've done has been recorded," Arlen said. "In minutes, the authorities will have all the evidence." Dr. Dane's composure faltered. "You think it ends here? There are people far more powerful than you imagine." "Maybe," Elara said. "But tonight it ends with you." Minutes later, federal agents entered. As they cuffed Dr. Dane, she looked back with a faint smile. "Enjoy your victory. Heroes always fall the hardest." The next morning, headlines exploded. Voss Technologies CFO arrested for corporate espionage. The financial world was shocked, but then something unexpected happened. Instead of turning their backs, the public rallied behind Elara. They saw how she faced betrayal with transparency and courage. Within 24 hours, Voss's stock value skyrocketed. A crisis that could have destroyed the company became the foundation for a new beginning. In the weeks following, Arlen returned to his rhythm, arrived on time, spent long hours building the strongest cybersecurity team in the industry. But every day at 6 o'clock, he left. No delays, no exceptions. One afternoon, Elara walked in with 2 coffees. "Heading out early again?" "As always," he replied, closing his laptop. She sat down. "Arlen, I've never asked. Why did you give up your career to become a janitor?" He was silent, then pulled a worn photo from his wallet. A young black woman with a radiant smile, holding a baby. Her locks framed her face like a crown. "This is my wife. She passed 3 years ago from cancer. Lyra was 6 months old." Elara fell silent. "I used to be a successful engineer, but when she got sick, I realized meetings, contracts, promotions, none of it meant anything compared to holding the hand of the person you love in a hospital room." "You gave up everything." He shook his head. "No, I just chose what mattered more. After she was gone, No one wanted an outdated engineer, but they needed cleaners. And that job gave me time with my daughter. But now that you're back, I won't make the same mistake twice. Lyra needs me every night. Not the successful version, just me. She nodded softly. You're a wonderful father. He smiled. I'm just trying. Weeks later, Elara visited Arlen's apartment. It was small, but filled with life. Lyra's drawings taped everywhere, books stacked, toys scattered. Lyra ran out, locks in a crooked ponytail. Hello, ma'am. Hello, Lyra. Your dad's told me so much about you. The little girl beamed. Did you know my dad's really smart? Daddy says you're his boss. Elara laughed. Your dad saved my company. Lyra's jaw dropped. Really, Daddy? That's so cool. When Lyra dashed back, Elara looked around. This is a beautiful home. It's small, but it's ours. Elara smiled. Arlen, I want to make you an offer. I'm implementing flexible work arrangements for single parents. You'll work from home 3 days a week. Arlen stared, stunned. You're serious? Completely. You taught me success means nothing if we lose what truly matters. I want Voss to be a place where people can have both. Tears glimmered in his eyes. Thank you. No, Arlen. I should thank you. You didn't just save the company. You reminded me why I started all of this. 6 months passed. Voss not only recovered, it rose stronger. But more importantly, the company transformed. Elara founded the Second Chance program, recruiting people society had overlooked. A once homeless engineer, a designer who'd served time, a programmer who'd lost her job caring for ailing parents. One afternoon, Elara knocked on Arlen's door. I have something to show you. She led him to the basement. The old server room looked completely different. Fresh paint, modern equipment, and above the doorway, a plaque. The Lyra Innovation Wing. Arlen stood frozen. You didn't have to do this. I wanted to. This company wouldn't exist without you, and maybe neither would I. Inside, the room had become a hub of innovation, open workspaces, research stations, and in the corner a small area for children, coloring tables, toys, a tiny chair. So when Lyra visits, she'll have a safe place to play while you work. Arlen couldn't hold it in. Tears rolled down his cheeks. I don't even know what to say. Elara placed a hand on his shoulder. You gave me a second chance when the company was falling apart. Now it's my turn. That evening, Arlen brought Lyra. She ran around, eyes glowing. Daddy, is this your place? Not just mine, ours, and everyone's who works with me. Lyra stopped at the plaque. Lyra, that's my name. That's right, sweetheart. She threw her arms around him. You're amazing, Daddy. I'm so proud of you. Arlen hugged her tightly. I'm proud of you too. You're the reason I did all of this. 2 months later, on a rainy evening, Elara and Arlen stood outside Voss Technologies. Raindrops glittered under city lights. Do you remember the night we first met? Elara asked. Arlen smiled. How could I forget? I was supposed to mop floors and ended up saving an empire. Elara shook her head. No. You saved more than that. You taught me how to see. See what? The invisible ones. Do you know how many times I walked past you? Never looked. Never said thank you. Never asked your name. Arlen stayed silent. The rain fell steadily. You were always there, but I was too consumed by success to notice. Then, on the night I lost everything, you were there again. Not because you had to be, but because you cared. A homeless man pushed a cart past them, clothes soaked. Elara called out, Hello there. The man looked up, startled. I'm Elara. Are you hungry? She handed him a business card. This is my company's address. We have a program for people who need a new opportunity. He took the card, hands trembling. Thank you. Thank you so much. As he disappeared, Arlen turned to her. "You've changed." "No, you taught me to see, and now I can't stop seeing." They found a cafe to wait out the rain. "I've been thinking about Mirelle," Elara said quietly. "She told me I never saw her, and she was right. I only saw her title. I took her loyalty for granted. You can't keep blaming yourself, but I can learn from it. Mirelle was wrong to betray us, but I was wrong too. Both can be true." "So what will you do?" Elara looked through the glass. "I'll keep seeing. Every person in this company, every person out there, I'll never forget everyone carries a story." Weeks later, Elara stepped onto the stage of an international tech conference. Hundreds sat below, watching. "People ask me how Voss Technologies recovered from the worst crisis in its history." She paused. "They think it was strategy, or technology, or money." She smiled genuinely. "But the truth is, we were saved by someone most people never see. A single father, once a janitor, quietly raising his little girl. A brilliant engineer the world had forgotten." The hall fell silent. "Arlen Drake taught me the greatest lesson, that the invisible are often the strongest. They're the ones who've been knocked down but still get up, the ones who've lost everything but still give." Her voice trembled. "So I want to leave you with a challenge. Look, truly look, at the janitor in your building, at the barista downstairs, at the person on the sidewalk. They're not invisible. We just haven't been seeing them." The audience erupted, but Elara didn't look at the front rows. She looked toward the back, where Arlen stood with Lyra, hands clasped, both smiling brightly. And in that moment, Elara knew this was no longer the story of a company. It was the story of people who had finally been seen. One evening, when the innovation wing was lit only by computer screens, Elara walked in. Lyra sat coloring. Arlen was at his desk. "Hey," Elara called. Arlen looked up, smiling. "Hey there." She sat down. "When I founded Voss, I believed success meant never needing anyone. That strength came from standing alone." Arlen listened. "Now I know real strength comes from knowing when you need others. You gave me more than a saved company. You gave me a lesson in compassion. You taught me, too, that second chances are real, and the past doesn't define us." They sat in silence, only Lyra's pencil heard from the corner. "Arlen, I don't know where we'll go from here, but there's one thing I'm certain of. I want you in my life, not just as a colleague, but as family." Arlen met her eyes. "I feel the same. Family isn't just blood, it's the people who make us the best version of ourselves." Lyra ran up, waving her drawing. "Daddy, Miss Elara, I finished." She held it up. 3 people, a man, a woman, and a little girl, standing before a glowing building, the sun shining above. "This is us, my family." Arlen and Elara looked at each other, smiles breaking through tears. "That's right, Princess," Arlen whispered, wrapping Lyra in his arms. "This is our family." The story of Voss Technologies and Arlen Drake spread beyond borders. It became a symbol of redemption, faith, and quiet courage. But for Elara and Arlen, it had never been about numbers. It was about learning to trust, to truly see people society overlooked. That night, stepping out under drizzle, city lights reflected in puddles like fallen stars. Elara turned with a soft smile. "I don't think miracles come from the sky. They come from people who refuse to give up." Arlen looked at her. "Then you're the only miracle I'll ever need." Lyra held both their hands, skipping through the rain, her laughter ringing bright. And in that moment, for the first time in years, the 3 felt something no money could buy. They were seen, they were loved, and they belonged. Do you believe sometimes it's the smallest people who can change the world? If this story stirred your heart, type 100 in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from, and share this with someone who needs to be seen, because sometimes All it takes is one person who truly sees you to change everything.